In the entire history of cyber warfare, there's one attack that it just stands on a completely different level. It wasn't about the money it made, it was about pure chaos and the sheer breathtaking scale of its destruction. This is the story of NotPetya. So picture this. It's June 27th, 2017, the day before a big national holiday in Ukraine. People are getting ready to head home. And then, all across the country, computer screens just go black. They all reboot at once. But what comes back up isn't the friendly Windows logo. It's this ominous red and black screen, demanding $300 in Bitcoin. It looks like ransomware, right? Well, this was no ordinary shakedown. And it spread unbelievably fast. We're talking a matter of hours. This wasn't just a few unlucky offices getting hit. No, this was a full-blown digital apocalypse. The entire digital backbone of the country was just crumbling. The real-world impact was immediate, and it was catastrophic. I mean, just think about it. Banks, offline. ATMs, just useless metal boxes. You couldn't pump gas for your car. You couldn't mail a letter. Hospitals completely lost access to patient records. And this is the really chilling part. Even the radiation monitors at the Chernobyl nuclear site went dark. Ukraine was digitally paralyzed. Okay, so you can imagine security experts all over the world are scrambling. Their first thought? All right, it's ransomware. We've seen this play before. But the more they dug into the code, the more this horrible feeling started to grow that something was deeply, deeply wrong here. This just didn't add up.
And here's the key thing you've got to understand. Regular ransomware, it's basically a digital kidnapping, right? The goal is financial profit. They lock your files, you pay up, and they give you the key to get them back. But a wiper, that's a whole different animal. A wiper isn't trying to make money. Its only goal is destruction. It's like it locks your files in a safe and then throws the safe into a volcano. The data is just gone. Forever.
And pretty soon, the experts at Kaspersky Labs confirmed everyone's worst fears. That ransom note, the Bitcoin address, it was all fake, a disguise. They found that the malware literally had no way to decrypt the files, even if you paid. This wasn't a crime. This was a weapon of mass disruption wearing a cheap ransomware mask. You see, the code was based on an older ransomware called Petya. But because its real purpose was so much more sinister, so destructive, it just wasn't Petya. And that's what the security community started calling it. A perfect name, really. NotPetya. So, the big question is, how did this thing become so powerful, so devastatingly effective? Well, it was this really nasty and frankly brilliant combination of clever infiltration and some seriously powerful stolen tools.
The attackers were smart. They picked the perfect Trojan horse, a piece of Ukrainian tax software called MEDOC. And get this, nearly every single business in the country had to use it to file their taxes. By hacking into MEDOC's own update server, the attackers could push their weapon out, disguised as a totally legitimate software update. It was the perfect delivery system.
Okay, so let's walk through the attack, because it's pretty wild. First, it gets in through that trusted MEDOC update. Once it's on just one machine inside a network, it uses this incredible tool called Mimikatz to just pull admin passwords right out of the computer's memory. So now it has the keys to the kingdom. And then it unleashes the big gun, Eternal Blue. This was a super weapon, an exploit built by the NSA that had been stolen and leaked. With that, NotPetya could spread to every single computer on the network like an unstoppable wildfire. So it was clear the weapon was designed to cripple Ukraine, and cripple it hard. But here's the thing about our interconnected world. Digital viruses don't carry passports. They don't respect borders. And what started as a targeted attack was about to spill out and become a global catastrophe. Think about it. All these huge multinational companies have offices in Ukraine, and of course they're using MEDOC for their taxes, just like everyone else. They basically became unwitting carriers of this digital plague. NotPetya just hitched a ride on their private global networks and escaped the kill zone. And the list of collateral damage, I mean, it reads like a who's who of global business. The pharmaceutical giant Merck had to halt vaccine production. FedEx's European subsidiary lost $400 million. But no one was hit harder than the Danish shipping behemoth Maersk. For Maersk, it was instant. It was total. In a flash, 4,000 servers and 45,000 PCs across their entire global network were wiped clean.
This company, which handles nearly a fifth of all global shipping, was digitally dead in the water. And that digital shutdown had a very, very real-world impact. Suddenly, giant port cranes couldn't move containers, trucks couldn't get into terminals. At 76 ports worldwide, from Los Angeles to Rotterdam, a critical artery of the global supply chain was just clamped shut. This was a genuine, company-ending kind of crisis for Maersk. You see, the attack had wiped out their entire network, including about 150 absolutely critical servers called domain controllers. Now, think of these as the digital master keys and the address books for the whole system. If you lose all of them, there's no way to rebuild. It looked like total, complete annihilation. But then, a miracle. After frantic, desperate calls to hundreds of their offices around the world, the IT team found it. A single, lone, surviving domain controller. And you'll never guess where it was. A remote office in Ghana. It was just pure dumb luck. A random power outage had taken that Ghana office completely offline right as the attack was spreading, shielding this one server from the plague. That single hard drive was flown by hand to the UK, and it became the digital seed that allowed Maersk to rebuild its entire global empire from scratch. Absolutely incredible. So while this global cleanup was underway, the biggest question still hung in the air. Who was behind this? And why on earth would they unleash such a destructive weapon on the world? Well, the evidence pointed overwhelmingly in one direction. Just look at this chart of infections. Ukraine wasn't just the first victim, it was the intended victim. I mean, it suffered nearly 3 times as many infections as the next closest country. This wasn't random at all, it was targeted.
And soon after, Western intelligence agencies officially pointed the finger at Russia, specifically at an elite hacking unit within their GRU military intelligence agency, a group known as Sandworm. And this wasn't their first rodeo. They were already believed to be behind previous cyber attacks on Ukraine's power grid. This was an act of cyber warfare. So when the dust finally settled, the world was left to tally the cost. The cost of a war that had been fought not with bullets and bombs, but with keyboards and code. The White House estimated the total damages at over $10 billion. Let that sink in. A single piece of malicious code inflicted more financial damage than many natural disasters, making NotPetya the most expensive cyber attack the world has ever seen. Period. So, NotPetya's legacy is profound. It fundamentally blurred the line between a state-on-state attack and just global chaos. It proved that in the 21st century, private companies like Maersk are no longer just spectators. They are the battlefield. And it served as a brutal wake-up call that simply having backups isn't enough. You have to plan for total annihilation. And that leaves us with a really critical question. When a cyber weapon escapes its intended target and cripples global businesses, paralyzes supply chains, and halts vaccine production, who ultimately pays the price for that war? NotPetya showed us that in modern warfare, everyone is in the crossfire.